Hi, so today we will be going over a feline spay and neuter. So prior to anything, we're going to want to make sure that the surgical suite is completely clean and all of the instruments that we will be using for the surgery are all completely clean, all autoclaved and ready to go. This includes the small surgery pack, the drape, the gown, all of the tools. We want to make sure the intubation tubes are all completely clean. We want to make sure the anesthetic machine is hooked up and that there's oxygen flowing. We also want to make sure we have a heating pad in there already. V-trough may or may not be needed depending on the size of the animal. And we also want to make sure that we have towels. This is all 15 minutes after the induction has been given to the animal. Usually it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for the animal to fully be under at that time. And then you can obviously check, you can loop their eyes, you can check to see how far they've been anesthetized at that point to see if you can start placing an IV catheter. And then check to see the size of the animal's throat for the intubation tube. And VMAs can also help with holding off the vein. Usually it's at the animal's elbow where they would hold, and then they would kind of roll their thumb for the tech to place the IV. At this point, all of the machines should be working, operational, and that IV should have been applied. There is also the matter of making sure the animal is warm. So we want to make sure that that heat is on for the animal. The next step would be to surgically clean around the animal's area, to prep for the patient area. So what we would do is we would have already prepared our gauze squares with our chlorhexidine solution for the prep. So usually we would take our clippers and very, very cautiously go around in where their hair grows. We would kind of go around and shave all that off. Or an easier way that doesn't cause too much irritation before and after the surgery and gives you better recovery time would be to pluck that surgical area. And then after we were to pluck and completely remove all the hair around that area, we would do our surgical scrub. So we're going to want to make sure that we don't kind of go back over with our hand that's not sterile. We're going to want to make sure, say that this is the animal's area. So we're going to want to make sure that it's an inch on both sides and that we have a lot of room here, depending on if it's a cat, a female cat. We're going to want to make sure it goes kind of halfway up. We're always going to want to go further than we need, just in case. So an inch on both sides. We're going to want to make sure we don't overlap it with our hand. So we're going 10 this way, 10 this way. We're going to take our hand away and go 10 this way and 10 this way. And we'll do that on all of the sides until we get to the very middle. If we're doing a male cat, we'll do it on their testes. So we're just going to go over, we're going to scrub in between, and we're going to want to make sure all of that is completely clean and sterile, and that when we take the final gauze square and we wipe it, it comes away completely clean, so that makes sure that the animal is completely sterile. At this point, the animal should be out. Before any of that, we're going to want to make sure we pick the right intubation tube, because it'll be easier to complete all of the surgical scrub and get the animal ready for surgery if they're already intubated. So what we would do as VMAs is we would take the head and then say that this up here where I'm kind of pinching is the animal's kind of jaws. So we would take their lips and we would kind of hold that up and make sure that the head is supported for the tech or the vet to place that intubation tube. Once it's placed, we would then tie it up and then we can start moving them and then complete all of that scrubbing process. So obviously we would already have our drape and everything. I've just taken like a pillowcase and tried my best to do that. So we would open it very slowly. Obviously the vet is going to want to do this and they're already going to be sterile and have all of the gloves on. So they would do that and be careful not to kind of get in the way of that. We also have our surgery pack, our small surgery pack, including a spay hook, all of the hemostats that we need, all of the forceps, some gauze. We want to make sure that there's been an indicator strip in there and that it's completely cleaned and autoclaved. So we would have that completed before any type of anesthetic goes into the animal. We're also going to have a tech in the room for the entire surgery, monitoring that animal, making sure that they're breathing correctly, that their heart rate is still good. Yes, so monitoring them to make sure that there's no issues during any of the surgery. I believe that is all to make sure that our animal is completely comfortable and ready for surgery. We talked about the setup, how to properly clean that animal. We talked about the cleanliness before placing anything in the room for surgery. And we talked about placing the IV catheter. We talked about the intubation tube and how important all of that is for surgeries. So that is the feline spay or neuter process.